Welcome back to the Service is Power podcast, brought to you by Impact Servant Leadership. Lyle's with you, and today we're going to be talking about a phrase that I think has lost a little bit of its luster in our modern day context today. It's the phrase, thank you. I don't know about you, if I do something for someone, I want some type of appreciation for it. Now, I don't need it, but I sure want it. And I think that so many times we've just taken other people and taken certain things for granted. And we've lost the reality of the power of that statement, how much it can enrich someone's life and how much it can influence them to be a little bit better than they currently are. I don't know where you are in life right now, but if you're doing something, if you're working somewhere, I hope you got somebody that appreciates what you do. If you're in a personal relationship with somebody, I really hope that you have somebody that appreciates who you are. If you're a college student, I hope you got some parents that are with you or some family members, a support system that is really supporting you and saying that they appreciate your hard work. And if you're a college student, which is who this podcast is for, I really want to challenge you to go back to a professor and say thank you. And not just any professor, not the professor that you're like, well, let me go back to that person too, but go back to the one that's challenging you, the one that you don't like. Go back to the professor that's making you think and making things difficult on you. Maybe that person's a jerk. Maybe that person isn't necessarily the nicest person in the world, but they're doing something that's going to bring something out of you that it's going to make you better. I promise you, adversity is such a phenomenal teacher in life. And I want to challenge you, if you're a college student listening to this thing, to go back to that individual and say two words that I think is going to make their day. It's going to make them think. It's going to make them rework who they are and probably challenge them to be even a little bit better. And it's this phrase, thank you. And I get to hear this phrase quite a bit. I've had the honor to serve our country in the United States Air Force for the last 18 years, and I'm still on active duty as we speak of this podcast today. And so many of us, whether we're currently on active duty, we're guard or reserve, we're veterans or we're retired, and I'd be remiss if I don't mention all the people that aren't blue suiters, as some of us are called, our service members or people that wear the uniform. The people that are coming to work every single day and they work alongside of us, and some of them even lead us. The civilian sector of our workforce in the Department of Defense specifically. But even some of our elected officials, a lot of our elected officials that are working in D.C. and in certain parts of our states and counties and cities, all of those folks, thank you guys so much for what you do, and I'd be remiss to not mention you. But I already kind of alluded to it, that many of us in the military, as well as those that work alongside of the military members, are referred to as service members. And we hear this word thank you quite a bit. Now, service is being involved in something that another person has not done or would not do. So when people typically see us, particularly us in uniform, or if they know that we work for the government in some type of way, shape, or form in a defense capacity, they think sacrifice, they think dedication, and they think commitment. And those attributes, they lead to us being honored and esteemed and beloved. But here's the thing. That is not just attributed to people in the military or people that are part of the Department of Defense. Anyone that we honor and we esteem and we love are some of the people that have served us at the very deepest levels. Think about it. Parents, pastors and mentors and coaches, best friends, people who have done significant things that we really hold in high regard, have served us in the deepest ways, in the best ways, in the most impactful ways in our life. Now, when people come up to me in a supermarket, at a gas station, they say a 5-word phrase that still gives me goosebumps. It still makes me beam and smile from ear to ear, and I still kind of struggle with how to respond to it. But they walk up to me, especially if they see me in uniform, and they'll say, "Thank you for your service." Now, when they're saying that to me, many of them, what they're actually saying to me is, "Thanks for allowing me the freedom to be me." Why? Because we are on the front lines and we're defending the Constitution and their right to do whatever it is that they so desire according to the Constitution of the United States. And we're like a symbol of that for our country. And for some of them, that means, being able to laugh and love and live the way they desire. And that's great for military members. But I believe that there's so many people out there that have done those same exact things. They've lived an honorable life and they've esteemed honor on other people's, and so they have been worthy of that esteem as well, because they have allowed space and opportunity for those of us who have been connected to them to laugh and to love and to live in such a way that makes us better people. And so this phrase, "thank you for your service," while it's mainly attributed to military members, it can be juxtaposed to so many other people within our sphere of influence. We can do this to anyone, anywhere, at any time. We just have to have the correct mindset, and we have to have the correct perspective of our life and them. One of the things we're going to have to do is that we're going to have to invest in the lives of other people. It's kind of automatic for me as a military member, but the principle is still there. Because we've accepted this constitutional mandate as Americans, and if you're living in another country, I would hope, and I'm sure your military encompasses and stands up for your ideals as well. So maybe on that type of level, you can begin to understand and you can begin to take what it is that we're saying. But particularly in America, so many of our people look at military members and they say, "Wow, thanks for what you do, because you're standing up for our ideals. You're this symbol of this, you're this picture of our ideals, that you're this fortified fence defending against." But I think we can do that in other people's personal lives. But of course, we're going to have to take a little bit of an extra step by actually getting to know people, getting to understand who they are, the things that they appreciate, the things that they love, the things that they desire in life, and their passion to go after those things. And once we begin to understand those things, we can begin to adjust and move our own lives to put ourselves in a position to really begin to help those individuals get to those places, encourage them to get to those places. If we have the ability, then we can remove some of the obstacles that won't allow them to be stuck. Or we can help them get over some of those hurdles so that they could grow and become better. It's a lot of like what some of those professors that some of us college students right now that we can't stand, that's kind of sort of what they're doing, and I know it doesn't seem like it. And we can also take it back to our parents. A lot of our parents, they haven't been probably the nicest or whatever. However, we could take some of the lessons that they've taught us, good, bad, or indifferent, and apply them to our lives so that it makes us grow. It makes us better. And we can do that to other people. Truly, when we serve others, we empower them to be better versions of ourselves. And I just kind of want to take this example. This is not in the show notes, but I'm really thinking that this might be relevant to somebody as I'm saying it. There might be some difficult people that you've had to deal with in life. And if we would adopt a growth mindset around those situations, not a fixed mindset around those situations, we could see that the decisions that we've had to make, even in our young lives as college students, even the decisions we've had to make because of what they've done, have allowed us to grow to a point where we understand who we are, and it's important to understand who we also never will be. And when we take those examples, and we take those situations, and we take those life experiences, and we weave them into our own lives, we realize that that person who did something bad to us, who hurt us in some way, has actually made us a better version of ourselves. Now, this isn't a license to go out and be jerks to people. We definitely don't want to do that. But we definitely want to take a mindset of being the very best we possibly can be. And we can appreciate the experiences that we've had behind us so that we can go forward in our own personal life. When we offer the opportunity to enjoy life at points that other people may not have ever realized on their own, we become the type of champions that we're talking about in this episode. Selfless service spreads joy, spreads hope, and spreads love. And most times, I don't think those types of things, those three things, joy, hope, and love, they don't show up on anybody's financial statement. They're not going to make your grade any higher. They're not going to make a difference in the things that make the world go on a numbers perspective. Nobody's going to be able to read that on a resume. Nobody's going to be able to go to LinkedIn and see that on your profile. But I promise you, when we interact with individuals and when we see people in our life, in our world, in our context, they're going to be able to give those type of testimonials that say that what we've done and how we've done it has been impactful to the point that we are compelled to say thanks for how you served me. Their life is impacted and is significantly altered. Our life is filled with significance and value, and honor becomes something that is so valuable that everyone else begins to see it and grow from it as well. Everybody that's listening to this podcast today, I want to say thank you for your service. You're doing me a great service, and everyone else here at Services Power, for listening to this podcast. And if you like it, listen, I don't want to pitch you. I don't want to try to grow our audience for the sake of just growing our audience so that we can say, hey, we've got a big following. But if there's something in this podcast, even at this point in our growth in these episodes, if there's something that's being said here that's helping you, share it. Tell somebody that this has done something really, really cool. This is something that you really need to hear, something that you really need to think about, something that might challenge you to be a better version of yourself. And if you're doing that, then hey, you're serving us here at the Services Power Podcast. Wow, so that wraps up this episode of the Services Power Podcast, brought to you by Impact Servant Leadership. We're just keeping this thing moving and rolling and moving and shaking. Thanks for getting on this train with us, and we'll see you at the next stop. We're honored to serve.